The American Heart Association, AHA, thanks you for facilitating the meaningful engagement training for the Empowered to Serve Network and the Opioid Response Network. The purpose of this module is to facilitate or aid a discussion with your community members about how to be a better and more engaged listener. Learning how to actively listen is an important skill in reaching out to a friend or family member who is battling a substance use problem. Why is it so important to be a good listener? Dr. Ralph G. Nichols, who started the science of studying listening, said, "The most basic of all human needs is the need to understand and be understood. The best way to understand people is to listen to them." Think about how different the world would be if we all listened more. You can use this quote to get into the right frame of mind when you sit down and talk with a loved one whom you are concerned about. In this module, we will learn best practices on how to be a good listener. We will learn how to check in with ourselves and have empathy for others. Empathy is the art of understanding someone else's experiences. We'll see when someone is stuck, which happens when they are struggling with what they should do and what they are doing. We will also learn how not to judge others. And finally, we'll look for listening roadblocks to avoid. At the end of this session, you will have the tools to be a better listener and engage with people in a deeper, more meaningful way. In medical school, doctors have a saying, "First, take your own pulse." This means that when we're trying to help someone else, we need to check in with ourselves on how we feel in that moment. The same is true when we are talking to someone we're worried about in our day-to-day lives. You may experience feelings of stress, worry, guilt and anger, denial, helplessness or hopelessness, or even frustration at times. These are all feelings that are normal. It's just as important to know how you are feeling before you try to talk to others. Next, let's talk about what empathy is, since sometimes people can confuse its meaning. Empathy is understanding another's experience. It is not feeling bad or pitying someone else. Empathy is also something that you do or experience, and it is not something that you just have. It can be hard work sometimes, so it's a skill you have to develop to imagine how someone else is feeling. A lot of people also think we need to have had the same experiences to empathize, but what's good about humans is that feelings are something we all have in common. Empathy is about practicing imagining how someone else might feel. You can use your own life experiences, which may not be the same as the person you are talking to. For instance, I may not know what it feels like to be really down when I'm withdrawing from a substance and having physical and mental effects on my body from not having a specific drug. But I have felt really sad when my family member died. In both cases, I can empathize with the other person who is feeling sad because I have felt sad before too. We share the feeling of sadness in common, even when our reasons may be different. When we talk to loved ones about substance use, it's important that we have empathy for what they are going through. Here are some tips for how to have these sometimes hard talks. One way to do this is to focus away from our own worries about what may happen and, instead, focus on the other person's experience and what they may be feeling. Also, when we express genuine curiosity and interest in a person about how they feel, we build and strengthen our connection with them. So, they may be more likely to come to us when they are ready to get help. Because of the way that the processes of addiction work, if we pull at the tug-of-war rope, then the person will pull back and we will fight. Instead, if we sit next to the person and let them know we care and listen to them, they will be more likely to understand that we are with them all along. When someone is stuck, it's like they are on a seesaw by themselves. It's basically a back and forth type of feeling. They're having thoughts and urges to act in two different ways or to make two different decisions in their life. This is a big part of substance use, the urge to use or not use. It's the feeling of wanting to use to cope, but being hurt by using, and the internal fight between hurting their loved ones and how hard it is to stop using. If we try to help by pushing down on one side of the seesaw to get the result we want, the balance is off. The other side just goes up. The person who is battling the feelings they are having is pushed into a direction they may not want to be in. The push from a person who cares may actually cause more harm than good in this case. The key is to listen and not to push so hard, because we cannot control the end result, even if we'd like to do so. This doesn't mean we agree with the other person's choices. It means that we are taking another way to connect with the person, to be there for them in ways that they will accept, and to be a resource to them as they move along the path toward recovery, even if it is not in a straight line. Let's talk about how to not judge others. One way to do that is by practicing reflective listening. This is where we try to listen and understand, and then let the person know we hear them and see where they are coming from. We can show them we are open to understanding their view, even if it's not the same as our own. We also have to make sure we are focusing on the person's experiences and not trying to fix or solve their problems. Many people do not want to feel like they need to be fixed or changed. They are looking for someone who is willing to listen and not judge them. Another way to not judge others is to walk beside them, even if we don't agree with their choices. This means we focus on the person's experiences and feelings and not on whether we can convince them to make the same choices we would. We don't get into the tug of war. There are certain things we do while listening to others that can interrupt the flow of the person being heard. We call these listening roadblocks. Here are some examples. Using phrases like, "you should do," may make the person feel like you are judging them or trying to give advice, even when they don't want any. Agreeing with the person, even if you do not feel the same way, can also be harmful. Trying to tell someone why they have a problem or that they are hurting you can be a roadblock for connecting with the other person too. Well, what can you do to be a good listener? Here are some simple actions that can have a big effect. Sometimes it's not about what you say, but more about what you don't say. You can show that you care about what someone is saying by making eye contact or even just nodding your head. There is also something called mirroring. Mirroring does not mean doing what the other person is doing. It is showing your emotions and that you care and understand the other person by using your body language and face. For instance, if someone is showing me that they're sad and I'm angry that they use substances, then I'm not showing them that I understand that they're sad. It's part of shifting the focus away from your own feelings, like frustration or anger, so that you can connect with that person in a way that means a lot to you both. Sometimes people want to do the right thing, but they get excited or anxious or nervous, and they start to interrupt the person who is speaking. Someone who is struggling with using substances may already feel like people will not hear or understand where they are coming from. By making sure you are listening and not interrupting, they may feel better about opening up to you. Now, let's practice what you learned.
The Opioid Response Network, ORN, is a federally funded national initiative that provides education and training in the prevention, treatment, recovery, and harm reduction of opioid and stimulant use disorders. ORN provides educational resources, training, and consultation, acting as a kind of temporary agency, meeting the specific local needs of organizations, communities, healthcare systems, states, and individuals, all at no cost.